So I tell my first year college students that when I'm standing in front of them in a lecture hall, half of them can expect to live to see their 100th birthday. Half of the 18-year-olds born today can expect to live to see their 100th birthday. Just stop and think about that for a moment. It's a little bit frightening when I say that to a college class, when they start to imagine how much time they have ahead of them. But the point is, if you have ever been to Florida or maybe live in Florida, what Florida looks like now is how the United States is going to look across the board by the year 2030, when 1 out of every 5 Americans will be over age 65. And this is going to transform, and has already started to transform, every facet of our lives. I also tell students that it doesn't matter what their major is, what their career will be. They will need to know something about older adults and aging in their work as a physician or a lawyer or a teacher or a fashion designer or a banker or a journalist or an architect. Knowledge about aging will be essential because the population will be older. And of course, it's useful information to have for personal reasons as well, as people notice aging in their parents or their grandparents. And if we're all lucky enough, the aging that happens for ourselves as well. But only in recent years have we started to really pay attention to this demographic shift that's come front and center. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples of the ways in which this shift has already revealed some weaknesses or some vulnerabilities in how we've structured our society and how we've created our society. So let me give you 3 different examples. And the first example I'm going to talk about has to do with transportation. And this is a story that starts with the end of World War II and the subsequent housing shortage that we experienced here in the United States. People coming back from the war, looking for housing. And the Federal Housing Administration had already begun to insure long-term mortgages made by private lenders, and that helped ease the situation. The GI Bill also provided low interest, 0 down payment loans to millions of veterans. And at the same time, there was also a widespread uptake of the car by the middle class. And developers were less constrained by people who were willing to move out of urban centers. And what happened in the United States was the development of a new phenomenon, the suburbs. Zoning laws changed, people's mobility changed, and developers took advantage of that and created this new way of living in the United States that responded to a very genuine need in our society. So at the time, this was a remarkable solution that really tackled a problem and an issue in a very effective way. But fast forward, and here we are today in 2022. And if you think about the population of our older adults, here's a little quiz question for you. What percentage of older adults currently live in suburban communities in the United States? If you picked B, 51%, you were right. And another 26% of adults over age 65 live in what we think of as rural communities. So right there, you've got over 3/4 of the population in the United States over age 65 living in suburban or rural communities. Now, why this has become an issue that needs our attention is that because on average, older adults will spend 7 years of their lives, the end of their lives, unable to drive. So if we've created a society where a large proportion of our aging individuals is living in communities where there is not good public transportation, where there are not good options that allow people to go to the places that they want to go to when they can't drive themselves, stay connected with the people and the activities that are meaningful to them when they can no longer drive themselves, then we've created a problem for ourselves. Not that there aren't solutions on the horizon. For example, however you might feel about the idea of autonomous vehicles, driverless cars, they have the potential to help us deal with this transportation issue that we're facing. Being able to transport older adults to the people and the places that are meaningful to them when they're no longer able to drive themselves. I think there's also some potential there with the current ride-sharing system that's unfolding. These are also alternative transportation options that may give older adults the freedom that they would lack otherwise if they weren't able to drive. And there are actually other entrepreneurial initiatives that are helping to get older adults around as well. There's a company called GoGo, for example, that offers a more of a concierge service. You can call an individual up at the company and they will actually help you arrange transportation and a variety of other services. So what you're starting to see in our society, at least, is that companies and businesses are starting to step up, recognizing the need. But we probably need to undertake some more large-scale changes as well if we're going to address this issue about helping older adults stay involved and connected in the meaningful activities that they'd like to later in their life. So that's example number one, transportation. Example number two has to do with retirement. And this is a story that started in 1935 with the passage of the Social Security Act. Whenever I see this photo, I'm never really sure why nobody looks very happy because the Social Security Act has actually been one of the most positive and satisfying and highly approved pieces of legislation that's ever come across in the United States. The Social Security Act was passed in 1935 because during the Depression, right after the Depression, our country was experiencing a major social upheaval that was really unprecedented in US history. 25% unemployment, higher in some places, the failure of many banks, and people dislodged from the economy. We were also seeing a shift at the time in public attitudes, this traditional belief in rugged individualism that had shaped the United States, that it was wrong to take assistance, to give people help, the belief that that was somehow un-American, that was changing as a result of the Depression and the recognition that that responsible people, through no fault of their own, could be damaged in serious ways through no fault of theirs because of changes in the broader economy. It was the Depression, but across time and history, there are many other reasons why people may be at risk for economic insecurity. And here's a list of those possible reasons. Now, in 1935, when the Social Security Act was passed, do you know at what age you could start collecting your benefits? Well, it was 62. And technically, even today, you can start collecting your benefits when you turn 62, although, as you probably know, there's some quite severe penalty if you start collecting your benefits at that early age. So in 1935, you could start collecting your benefits at age 62. Do you know what the average life expectancy was when that Social Security Act was passed? It was 61.7 years. So if you're doing the math in your head right now, let me help you along a little bit. The age at which you could start collecting your benefits was 62. The average life expectancy then was just under 62. Now, that is not a fluke. The actuaries who helped draft the Social Security legislation were well aware that a large number of people would put into the Social Security system, but never live long enough to be able to take out from the Social Security system.